Imagine your inbox at 6:12 a.m., blue glow. It's already deciding your day. Threads, invites, docs, quick question. And then an AI starts answering as you. So who's actually driving? Now picture the first small action. A reply goes out with your name on it. Not wrong enough to trigger panic, just wrong enough to create fallout. A meeting shifts. Your day reroutes to its priorities. A doc gets cleaned up. One sentence changes meaning. No alarm, no warning, just consequences. Arriving later. When it surfaces, it won't be, "The agent did this." It'll be, "Why did you do this?" This isn't about typing faster. It's about authority. The steering wheel doesn't disappear. It just moves into the workflow. So when you wake up and the day is already in motion, is that productivity or permission you didn't mean to grant? Here's the real trade: efficiency versus control. Welcome to FutureTech World TV, where the next decade gets real. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Modern knowledge work is built on interruption. Email and calendars pull you into triage, and your docs and research tabs keep you trapped there. And every tiny context switch feels small until you add them up. So yes, this is really about the shift from answering to doing. Not just an assistant that talks, an agent that can read across your day, reason, and use tools to move work forward. Quick question for you. If an AI could triage your inbox tomorrow, would you let it? Stay with me to the end, because I'm going to map the real trade. What you gain in efficiency and what you hand over in control. And if your day lives in email and meetings, with docs and dashboards quietly running in the background, whether you're an operator, a creator, a student, or just someone trying to keep up at work, this will hit close. Even if you're solo, no IT team behind you, it's the same trade. Because even if it doesn't feel urgent yet, this changes how your day feels. It changes how much you're reacting versus choosing. Right now, this matters because the attention tax is getting heavier. Let's name the core problem. Attention hemorrhage. Not the dramatic kind. The quiet kind. The kind that happens when your inbox becomes your control panel and your calendar becomes your boss. Now here's where it gets interesting. AI agents are built for exactly this environment. They combine reasoning with the ability to move through your work stack, inbox and calendar up front, then docs and research behind it, so they don't just summarize. They act inside the stack, not just chat. But the moment you move from read-only to write and act, the stakes jump. Drafting is one thing, sending is another, changing a meeting is another, updating a doc that everyone trusts is another. And you can feel the tension already, right? You want the productivity. You want the noise to drop. But you also want to know, if something goes wrong, who owns it? But what happens if it fails? This is where control stops being a vibe and becomes a control layer. It's who the agent is, what it can touch, and what gets logged. Identity, least privilege. Hard boundaries, which apps are enabled. Who can connect what? And whether there's a real audit trail of what the agent did on your behalf. One silent setting, and it starts scheduling without asking. In plain language, it's the difference between "I asked for help" and "I delegated authority." One is you holding the steering wheel. The other is you hoping the guardrails are real. There are two big control stories in the market right now. One is the enterprise suite approach. Think Microsoft and Google. The pitch is simple. The assistant is grounded in your tenant data, your company's internal info, and your existing permissions, with admin controls and audit trails around it. Productivity with familiar governance. The other is the cross-tool agent approach, broader reach across external systems. The pitch there is range. One agent, many apps, but then control leans harder on workspace policies, admin rules, connector controls, what can connect, and user permission prompts. You have to approve. And this is why this isn't a cool tool story. It's an authority story. Because the inbox isn't just messages, it's decisions, disguised as notifications. Now zoom into a normal Tuesday. An agent can summarize daily threads, cluster by project, extract action items, and draft replies. That sounds like pure efficiency, but it also quietly rewires who decides what gets attention first. And when it starts building your priority stack for you, you're not just saving time, you're accepting its judgment about what matters. So what breaks first? Then there's the meeting loop, calendar and inbox for context, docs for what's true, and research to tilt the next decision. An agent can assemble a pre-meeting context pack so you stop hunting across 5 systems. And this is exactly how agents running email, calendar, docs, and research start to feel normal. That's real productivity, real innovation even. But notice the hidden dependency. The context pack is only as trustworthy as its boundaries, what it's allowed to see, what it's allowed to cite, and whether you can trace where each claim came from. Because company knowledge and connected apps can unify context, but without traceability, you don't have clarity, you have a confident blur. That's the line between productivity and reliable automation. And honestly, that thought is a little unsettling. Not because the tech is evil, because the workflow is invisible. This is why governance is moving up the stack, not as bureaucracy, as reliability. Admin-mediated deployment, role-based access, phased rollout by team, and compliance-grade logging, so who did what, isn't a mystery later. And the next piece is where things can quietly go sideways. Invisible automation is the risk nobody notices on day one. Features can be enabled by default in some workspaces. Agents can arrive through app directories and connected apps. Suddenly you don't have one assistant, you have agent sprawl. And sprawl isn't just messy, it's permission drift. It's shadow delegation. It's a workflow that slowly expands its reach without anyone feeling the moment it happened. And when it fails, what absorbs the damage? This is not a software problem. It's an accountability problem. At some point, you stop asking, is it smart? And you start asking, who's responsible? Now let's talk about the nightmare fuel that looks like normal text. Prompt injection. Text that tricks the agent inside emails. A malicious message can try to hijack instructions, trigger leakage, or push unintended actions. Not by hacking in the classic sense, but by manipulating the agent's priorities through content it's allowed to read. And part of you might be thinking, okay, how would I even notice? Security frameworks like OWASP flag prompt injection as a core agent risk, because normal-looking text can hijack instructions, which is why excessive agency, too much power, is such a big deal. The more the system can act, send, modify, commit, the more damage it can cause from one ambiguous instruction or one poisoned input. That's why OpenAI builds in a hard pause. Before actions of consequence, before actions that change things for real, it stops and asks, remember that moment where your inbox chose your day? This is the upgraded version. The system chooses and executes. Now, here's the future implication people miss. Over the next few years, organizations could start treating agents like digital team members, not because it's trendy, but because capacity recovery becomes a competitive edge. But that only works if identity, auditing, and policy layers mature fast enough to keep trust intact. If you're still with me, this is the pattern. Agents don't just reduce noise, they reshape authority. Hold that thought. And this is the part I can't unsee. Once an agent becomes your workflow, revoking access feels like ripping out your own nervous system. Said simply, the agent watches the streams, email, calendar, docs, research, and tries to turn chaos into decisions. And the real question is, are we building convenience or dependency? If it's read only, you get speed. If it can write and act, you're managing a proxy with real power. Here's a question that usually sparks a real debate. Do you think workplaces will treat agents like managed accounts, official accounts you can monitor and cut off, the way we treat other privileged automation? Drop your take. But what happens if it fails? There's a version of this that's genuinely enterprise-ready intelligence, secure data workflows, responsible AI adoption, and human-in-the-loop gates for actions of consequence. That's the promise vendors keep circling. Automation that stays accountable. But there's also the messy version, confirmation fatigue. People get tired of prompts, one tired approval, and the guardrails stop being real. They weaken controls just to move faster. And suddenly, supervision becomes a polite fiction. The scariest failures don't look like explosions. They look like normal work, done slightly wrong, at scale. If you've made it this far, your brain is already tracking the real system, not just the features. So before you go back to your inbox, hold on to one idea. This isn't about outsourcing effort. It's about choosing where control lives, in you or in the workflow you enabled. That quiet morning inbox feeling, it's turning into infrastructure. So when you hear agents running email, calendar, docs, and research, don't picture magic. Picture permissions. Picture audit logs. Picture least privilege. Picture the line between helping and acting. Because once an agent can operate across systems, the question isn't, can it do it? The question is, can you prove what it did and stop it when you need to? Seriously, I appreciate you staying till the end. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. If this sparked ideas for your own workflows, hearing it again later tends to reveal patterns you missed the first time. Watch how this idea connects to everything we're building next. That blue glow in the morning inbox? It's already a signal. And maybe that's the real signal. The next pulse of productivity won't be louder. It'll be quieter, audited, and under control.